Hello everyone. Today I'll be taking up the topic Keynesian liquidity preference theory. This theory was developed by Professor J.M. Keynes. According to him, interest is a reward for parting with liquidity, which means that interest rate is the price paid for money being lended to others. Keynes in his theory has defined cash as the most liquid asset, and he has stated that all the people prefer cash. So when they lend their money to others, the liquidity of cash gets reduced. But now the question here arises, why would any person prefer to forego his liquidity? The answer is, if in return he is paid some incentive or reward, he would be ready to part away with his liquidity. Keynes has given three reasons why a person prefers to keep his money in liquid form. First reason is transaction motive, which is further divided into two categories: income motive and business motive. Income motive means that a person gets his income at different intervals of time, like monthly, weekly basis, etc. But the payments has to be done by him on regular basis based on his personal requirement. So a person has to keep cash with himself to meet all those daily expenses. The second purpose under transaction motive is business motive. Every businessman requires cash the moment he starts his business. Hence, he has to keep some money in liquid form so that the business activities do not get affected by it. The second purpose is precautionary motive, which means every person keeps some cash with himself to meet the future contingencies or unanticipated expenses, which can be treatment of family members, arrival of guests at home, education expenses of children, etc. Third purpose is speculative motive. Under it, all the individuals use their money to provide loan to others. That is, people use their money in liquid form for three reasons. First is to meet the expenses, second for unanticipated expenses, and the third purpose is for providing loan to others. Now, according to Keynes, rate of interest is determined by demand and supply of money. In this theory, demand for money means that the quantity of money people want to keep with themselves in the form of cash, and by supply of money, Keynes refers to the quantity of currency which monetary authorities of a country have for the public. So, interest rate is determined by the liquidity preference curve, which is downward sloping, as there is an inverse relationship between rate of interest and demand for money, and the supply curve of money, which is perfectly inelastic in shape. Interest rate is determined where both the curves meet. Keynesian theory was also criticized on certain grounds. First reason is his theory was called indeterminate theory, as he talked about the demand for money on the assumption that the income of the individuals is constant. However, in reality, the change in income also affects the demand for money. Second criticism is he ignored the real factors like investment, savings and consumption. He has taken only the monetary factors in his theory. And the last criticism is his theory had contradictory view. That is, from practical point of view, during the period of depression, people have high preference for money, but the rate of interest is low in the market. And during boom period, preference for cash is low, but interest rates are high in the market. So these are the criticism of Keynesian liquidity preference theory. So now if you have any question regarding this theory, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you.